Hello and welcome to Everyone is a Designer podcast by Femola Carrot. I am Femi and I am the Carrot. In this episode, we'll be talking about what design really means, and joining me in the studio is nobody but Ifedayo Ojo. Ifedayo is a serial designer and a multimedia professional and also an industrial product designer. He currently works at the Center for Communication and Social Impact, Abuja, Nigeria, and he's my best friend. We studied industrial design together. We've come a long way. We've seen through thick and thin. Well, that's a story for another day. The story for today is how design really influences our professional and individual lives. And Ifedayo is going to be sharing insights and his opinions on this. So join in and let's rub minds.
Quality requires work, quality requires patience, quality requires innovation, quality requires hard work. So yeah, I respect that.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Okay, so welcome to today's podcast again, Ifedayo. Thank you for joining us in the studio. It's been quite a struggle to get either of us here, especially me. But I am grateful and thankful for your patience. Thank you very much. So
really, I am more grateful. It's more of a pleasure. It's a very privilege to be here. I mean,
thank you, my friend. Thank you very much. So without further ado, let's just jump in. And from the topic of our first episode of Design is Life, and just to carry everybody along and make everybody comfortable with this podcast and with this episode, with this season, we decided to go the normal way we should go. So very first question we're going to be asking today, that you, Ifeda, is going to be answering for us out of the numerous questions we may have to answer in this episode, is what is design? Like, what does design really mean? Yeah. And how does it influence our world of today? But before we talk about how it influences our world of today, I just need you to, explain explicitly what design really means. Like, I don't know what design is, so just explain what design really means to us.
So, growing up, I was told that whenever you are confronted with a very tough question and you do not know where to start from, you just take a deep breath, which is what I'm doing now.
Okay.
You see,
so I think I need more of that than you right now. I think I do need that.
I mean, that's very required, because you see that question, that definition, finding a definition to that word design is a bit problematic. It's not straightforward, actually. Now the reason is because very often than not, I hear design being described from a very myopic and industry specific standpoint. That is, either it's being described from a fashion standpoint, or from engineering, or from arts. So thereby leaving those whose professions doesn't fall into any of those categories, leaving them dumbfounded. Like, okay, for them, design is just a fancy ornamentation and nothing else. You understand?
I like that.
I mean,
fancy ornamentation.
Yeah. So I mean, that's why I'm very I can't blame those people who usually give those definitions, because it's a bit hard to describe design. But thankfully, design is becoming very mainstream. I'm very happy to be born in this. I mean, at this time, to be alive at this time, design is now very mainstream. More so that you now hear people talk about design thinking, human-centered design. Business people talk about human-centered design. People in government talk about design thinking. And I'm wondering, is it the same design that you are doing?
Yeah, I used to know.
So that being said, I'm going to talk about design in a universally understandable and in a way that it addresses it from an interdisciplinary point of view.
Bro, just keep it simple.
Yeah. In a way that is timeless and basically just classic, like relevant to all fields. That's the essence of what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I had to say all that.
All right.
You need to understand how complex it is. You understand? So, but I'll try to make it very simple. But to put it, let's just succinctly put that design is anything we do that solves a problem in a way that improves and enhances the experience of people. I repeat, design to design is to solve a problem in a way that improves or enhances the life or experience of people. So yeah, so that being said, that is design. So design for everybody, regardless of their discipline, design is anything that they do that solves a problem. That is, before you design, there has to be a problem. So design, whether you are a shoemaker or you are a lawyer or design is anything that you practice that helps you solve a problem in a way that improves or enhances the experience, your experience
and way of living.
Yeah, exactly, or way of living, which is still talks about culture, way of life. So yes, there's design integrated in culture and stuff. So regardless of your discipline, design should help you solve a problem and improve the experience that you get out of things. So yes, that is design. Do you want me to go ahead or you want me to stop at this point?
Oh well, if you go ahead, it won't be a bad idea. If you just show us one or 2 points more, it won't be a bad idea.
At this point is I'm feeling like this guy is talking.
Okay, so if you're feeling that you talk too much or you two they talk, all right. So let's.
I'm actually not tired because I can
go
endlessly. This is my passion.
Well, no. This is not the episode to go endlessly, yeah? This is the episode to make people sink in the basics that we want them to understand, that this podcast is not only for designers and it's for everybody, like everybody. And I like what you said initially. You said you can't have a design without a problem. Like, I think what births good design, what births solving problems is the problem itself. Like, because if you don't have a problem, you can't get a design. I think I like that point that you pushed out there. But if you are still willing to give us some few points, I wouldn't mind. Like, just in a minute or two, just drop something more about what you just spoke about design. Okay. So
thank you very much. So in absolute brevity, design for every and any discipline is any action or a product. So design could be a product and it could be a particular process. It could be a process in the sense that you could take design as per a verb. Oh, I want to design this, or design as per an outcome, as per a noun. Oh, I like that design. You did that design. This is the design we are using. This is the model we are adopting. So it could be from either of those standpoints. But regardless of the standpoints that you are coming from, design is a solution to it solves a problem and ultimately improves the experience of people. Now, I've been saying that word experience. I'll explain further what that means and why it's actually very inclusive. That's why we're talking about design.
Okay.
Design is very inclusive. So let's look at a profession that is usually not necessarily with design, like law, for instance. Law has to do with policies and and those kind of things. When you are making when you are making policies and you are enacting laws as a lawyer or as a policy maker, there are certain things. So it's a social science, and that's the beauty of design. Design is not just an art that you think so. Now, contrary to people think that when you say design, like it feels like, oh, help me design this thing now. I've done it too. You just take it, just design it. Like very often at work, some places they see designers as the cherry toppers, those who put the cherry tops on the cake after it's been done, and that's actually far from it. So design is a coherent, consistent, and invaluable part of our living as humans. So for everyone,
Hmm.
I'm just going to give I'm going to wrap this definition of design up in by stating the 10 principles of the 10 commandments of design and how it applies to everyone. Everyone that actually wants to solve a problem should understand these 10 principles. So the first one is
Okay.
that
So we should let me grab my pen and paper to write that down.
it's not that not that
So
serious. Don't worry. We can put it up in the transcript of this thing. Is there room for a transcript on this?
okay. Yeah. There's gonna be a transcript. At least for these parts, for some parts like that has lists like this,
Yeah.
and drop transcript for people.
Okay, no problem. So I can forward that. So quickly, the 10 commandments of design, regardless of your profession, regardless of your discipline, is one, a good design is long lasting. A good design is long lasting. That is, it's timeless. A good design is something that is is relevant yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Across all ages.
Yes, that's one. A good design is beautiful. Now, remember when I said design improving the experience of people? Do you know how ugly things make you feel?
Yeah,
Just give me
they make me cringe.
an ugly thing you saw that actually made you feel very, very bad.
Well, some like 3 months ago, I saw a poster and I felt so bad. It had all the colors in the world. It had no space. It had all the fonts in the world. It had all the pictures in the world, and I was so mad. Like, and then they printed it, and then they mounted it.
Okay, good. I'll put you
That's
up there. I'll put you up there. That's very good. You see, but that definition, that experience is from a very very niche point of view. You are talking as a designer, so I'm talking about design from something that every other person would also be able to relate to, and I understand what you're talking about. I know how that makes us feel, but I'm just going to give a very, very quick analogy. So there is I just realized recently that I'm actually trypophobic, and what that means is that I have a disgust, like extreme disgust and irritation for tiny holes, bunch of tiny holes.
okay.
I don't know. Talking about it,
That's weird. I find that absolutely weird.
yeah. You know what? After this, just Google trypophobic pictures. I mean, talking about it is even making me cringe. I feel like peeing on my. Like, it's so. I realize I'm so irritated by it. You understand? Now that is just that's for some people it's an allergy. For some people it's just mere irritation. But what I'm saying is that for me it's actually ugly to me. So for me that's if I see that anywhere, that ruins my experience. Do you understand? So
Yeah.
so that's I was trying to draw relevance from the point that I said that a good design must be beautiful, because beauty ultimately influences the experience of people. Do you understand? So regardless of what you do, of what it is, it has to be fine. Even if I mean, some people say, well, it works. If it works and it's ugly, the experience is going to be bad, which defies the definition of design. Do you understand?
Okay.
So design is not only how it works, it's how it looks, and vice versa. It's not how it looks and it's how it works. It's
Oh.
you understand? So so that's two. And the third commandment of good design, principle of good design is good design is innovative. So regardless of your discipline, whenever you want to solve a problem, the thing is you can never run out of innovation. Innovation is an endless what's it called? Spiral.
Quality.
Yes, like in the world, because technology constantly advances and things like there's a saying that there's nothing new under the earth. In light of that, you'll be wondering, if there's nothing new, then how can I do something differently? You can do something differently by being innovative, by designing. Do you get the drift? So design is
exactly.
good design is innovative. It's been done before, but you design it in a way that it's relevant again. It solves the problem in a new way. Now it's not reinventing the wheels. It's just solving the problem that same problem in a new way, innovation. So that's good design. The fourth thing is a good design is understandable. That's very, very straightforward. Fifth, a good design is unobtrusive. That is, a good design does not stand and does not clutter your environment. It doesn't just seem like a piece of art that is just somewhere that it seems. A good design is not just an accessory. A good design actually is unobtrusive. It does not just, it serves a purpose. So that's 5. 6, a good design is honest. A good design will not tell you that this particular thing, when you use it, you'll be able to fly as high as yes, a good design will not tell you.
Oh god. But saying that, yeah, there are some brands that use personifications for their taglines. So I'm talking from a visual artist perspective now. So how true is that? Because I don't want to mention brands, but when you hear gives you wings, you be like, does that mean I will fly? It's always like you said, some people will just take that literally, yeah, and they won't figuratively interpret that. So once you say a good design is not misleading, yeah, it's not misleading, but some people still use figurative sentences that people actually literally interpret. So how do you just explain that? How do we come about that?
I think that's where the line is drawn between design and marketing. You understand? Marketing will do anything, and I mean when I mean anything, like anything to get you to buy something. I mean, if you read my article when I was talking about empathy, create with empathy, and how some products make you feel like, once you buy this product, all your problem is solved and everything, and you buy them, you're like, there are even more problems that I have now than when I had the product. I don't want to mention the brands now or the products, but what I'm talking about. So good design, not good marketing. Good design is honest. Yes. So a good design is thorough. The story design is detailed down to the last spec. 8, a good design is friendly. Is environmentally friendly at that. A good design does not add to the greenhouse effect. A good design instead will try to solve the problems of the current climate problems we're having. So that I'm talking about like hardware designs and stuff. That's a bit niche. But generally, good design is environmentally friendly. A good design will not cause chaos. A good design will not cause war. A good design should cause peace. Should bring peace. I mean, then second to the last is a good design should be timeless. I think that's related to the same thing I said as long lasting. And finally, a good design
across all ages.
Exactly. A good design is as little as possible. A good design is as little design as possible. I mean, also put that a good design is minimal. A good design is the saying, less is more.
Less is more.
Do you remember that catchphrase from that competition, the Limcaf competition that year?
Yeah. Limcaf. You were the one that year that always introduced me to every competition in this life. And that's a story for another day. We're still gonna sit down and tell everybody our story, how we met, and our journey as friends, as designers, and as colleagues, as brothers. So we'll talk about. We have a lot of things to share. I look forward
to that.
Yeah, I do too. Okay, so without you said
all these commandments will be made relevant as per the different disciplines and fields. Now, not just niche to just visual designers, but to all are sundry. When we proceed, I'll be able to demystify and explain how it applies to every other person.
Okay. Thank you, Ifedayo. The answer to that question just took some few minutes. Like, if you're just joining in, or if you're just listening, like maybe you just skipped to this part of the podcast. The question Ifedayo just answered is, what is design. All right, so moving to the next question, which is more all encompassing, and it's how does design affect our world today? Like, how does it affect our world today? Ifedayo, what do you think? What opinion do you have concerning how the design affects our world today?
Thank you very much. So, design affecting our world today. So, some people are of the school of thought that design can't change the world, but it can help to change the mind of people. And some people actually will say, no, design can change the world. Trying to some people think they actually overplay the role or importance of design. But you see, design is what you make of it, not just what you make of it. It's what I've said it is, and what you believe it to be, or it's going to carry the gravity you give it to carry. Now, what that means is, so with everything I've said now, the most important thing here today is that design solves a problem, and we live in a world with endless problems. Like there are always going to be problems. You understand? And we always want to solve problems. We always want to have a better society, have a better education, better governance, better products, better homes to live in, better. There are always things like, once you think of the superlative of the current situation that you are, you think of a problem. Even if it's good, you think you want to be better, then that gives room for design. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Yeah, so because of that, design is very relevant, and it plays a very active role in the society. And design covers everything we can think of in this life, because design is not just art for art's sake. Design is both a science and
art and science.
So it has methodologies. It requires a lot of research. It requires a lot of evaluation. It requires lots of monitoring, and it requires a lot of iteration. That is, things get better. It gives room for that. So, for instance, in governance, so you are thinking, okay, design is good, but how big of a thing is design? Now, I read of a certain scenario, real life scenario. That's I think sometimes around the early 2000s, the U.S. presidential election between George Bush and Al Gore. So there were two presidential candidates or aspirants. So the particular what's it called? The voting method that was used then. I think it was sort of like what do they call the one they use in Nigeria? They had the ballot system. Yes. So that ballot system, they had to. It's not the one that you in Nigeria here that you punch. That you use your thumb prints. It's the one that you actually punch holes. So you have so. I want to take you to a graphical world now. Just imagine we are on some graphic spreadsheet right now. So you have names. You have names of presidential aspirants. Then you have holes by their side. You have perforated circles. So the ones that the person that you actually elect, you are going to punch the hole, thereby leaving a hole just by the side of the name of that person. So when they are doing the collation, it's almost like an automated thing. No one has to be counting and saying, okay, this person, number of prints for this. No, this is something that is almost automated. Do you understand what I'm talking about? So once they assemble those entries into the particular machine, it senses, okay, this hole is tandem to this particular name. And that means this person was elected for this show. I don't know if you get what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. I actually understand what you're talking about.
So I hope every other person can understand that. I try to make it as graphical as possible. So that was the ballots, the system that they used then. But then they realized that. So for instance, let me bring it down to our own social cultural reality, our own reality in Nigeria here. So imagine that there was an election between President Muhammadu Buhari and someone like Oshomole, for instance, and they were taking records for a place like Zamfara or let's say Maiduguri, where they are predominantly Fulanis, and you know that Buhari has Fulani roots, and of course, just by without even thinking, without even breaking a sweat, you can already tell that okay, Buhari should win in that constitution. Understand? Only for you to now realize that Oshamole won, and he won by whooping landslide. Like, you understand what I'm talking about? Then they said they realized that happened in a couple of places. So that is what happened in the US that year. So then, after some time, it wasn't unveiled that this was what happened until some years later. There were some researchers that did went to dig to know what happened, and then they realized something very shocking. Now, do you know that particular result was so error-filled? It was filled with error. It was riddled with a lot of error. Now, what was the error? Came from design. Now, how did it happen? Now, remember when I told you that you have perforated circles that you could punch to create holes? Now, what happened was that, so they had so you'd have a name on one line, you'd have another name on just below it, and those were two opposing candidates. Then you would have like a line in between them. Then that line goes to those perforated holes. Now, the problem was that the thing wasn't aligned. So people who wanted to vote for president, for Al Gore in a certain region, thought that line was, perforated circle was aligned to, they thought it was actually aligned to Al Gore's name, not knowing that it was actually, on Bush and George Bush's name. Do you understand?
Whoa.
So
yeah,
that was how they voted for the wrong person. So a few of them didn't make a mistake, but most of the population of that region made that mistake. And that was only a problem that was revealed by research. Now, that was a problem of design called alignments. Basic problem alignment cost people their fates. I mean, you're as good as your governance. So let's just say it cost them their lives. So now I hope been able to answer the question of how important or what impact design carries in our life. Now that's just a very basic example, but design permeates every realm of every sphere of life that we can think of, from visual design to systematic design to communications design to a lot of different things. Thank you. Wow. Thank you very much, Ifedayo. Thank you very much. So we will be going on a short break. We'll be going on our bridge, call it the bridge. And when we are back, we would answer the third and the last question of this episode. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. This is the bridge, and this is where you get to advertise all your products and services on Everyone is a Designer podcast by Femola Carrot. Our vision is to positively impact the world using multimedia to consistently engage the human mind, building a well-taught generation with a mindset that design is life and everyone is a designer. You can also stand a chance of winning one of our well-designed merchandise either by engaging this podcast with questions or contributions, or by sharing on various social media platforms. So, what are you waiting for? Start sharing now.
What does it take to make an average sandwich? Not much. 2 slices of bread, a dash of mayonnaise, maybe tomatoes, How about a great sandwich? Let's see. Ingredients: wheat bread, avocado, carrot, tomatoes, cabbage, lettuce, peanut butter, and chicken. Now that's rich and super healthy. And the best part is, it's so affordable and very available only at jmamas_cafe. Order yours now.
All right. Welcome back. We're back from the bridge, and we are in the first episode of Design is Life, and we've answered 2 questions so far. What is design, and how design affects our world today? All right, so for this last section of our podcast, we have 1 question left, and for Ifedayo has been very, very articulate, and he has answered most of the questions, even some things I don't know he mentioned. So the last question is, Ifedayo, how do we as individuals in our professional and individual lives, how do we, let me put it this way, what role do we play in the design world to make our lives better? Well, as in, how do we influence design, to make our lives better as individuals and as professionals? Now, as individuals and professionals mean like everybody, like whether you're a visual designer, whether you sell fish by the road, whether you sell clothes, whether you sell cars. How do we as individuals and professionals influence design in our world today to make our world a better place?
Thank you very much. I just want to correct you. So I think what you meant was, how does design influence us, rather, or how do we influence design? So design should influence us, not we influencing design.
But well, I think we can influence design too, So like you mentioned something initially, because this question is like a twofold thing.
Okay.
You mentioned something initially that a bad design caused a drastic and a very bad result,
Yes.
So the question was drafted from that. So initially I had what you told me in mind, but so if we don't want bad results, because we have a lot of bad designs out there, so how do we as individuals and professionals influence these designs to make your world a better place?
Okay.
Do you understand now?
I
Yeah.
Okay, so quickly, design is if it's thought of as being very vital to our life, which it is, but a lot of people do not agree, just because they don't understand what design is, because they've always thought of it as as icing on the cake or as an ornamentation. But design is actually not that. Design is a solution. Is finding solutions to problems generally. I mean, that's what design is. So regardless of your field, regardless of what you do, design should influence you. You should influence design, just like you said, and to make things better. Now, how do you do that? Because when people will still be wondering, when you mean design, it sounds so vague. It sounds so. But what I'm trying to say, if you break it down, now when we try to solve problems, there are systematic approach. There's a methodology to try to solve problems that can be replicated regardless of the field. So the approach to designing, it could be intradisciplinary and interdisciplinary, as the case may be. It could be, okay, so you're coming from a footwear design point of view. There are ways and there are approaches that the team there adopts to create a particular shoe. You understand? So there are things that they do. Things they first do a research, conduct a research, and after the research they do a lot of ideations. After the ideations, they do a lot of conceptualizations, a lot of mind mapping and all. Then they do some things called concepting and prototyping. And from the prototyping, they do some tests again till that. That's a methodology that take that person who was doing that in a footwear industry to an automobile industry. That methodology will still work, except that the product now is different. Now that's what I mean by interdisciplinary methodology or approach. Now, but for for something completely interdisciplinary, so you could take that same approach and take it to like a business model. So, for instance, for marketers or for business people who are in core administration, for them, design, you can still adopt that same model by saying, okay, so they are trying to develop a new product as business people, as administrators. They can take that same model by doing research, doing ideation. So the form and the manner may change a bit. That is the name, the semantics by which it goes, but the core approach, it still remains the same. So regardless of the field the field or the discipline that you are, design approach is what people is the buzzword going around now, called design thinking. That is, anybody can integrate design thinking into their work. So design, the role that design plays in our lives, in our different roles today, can be seen in design thinking. That these people are advocating that, okay, once you adopt that model that design uses in its core, for anything that you do, you get better output. So maybe you're a non-profit trying to create an advocacy to end violence against children or end rape. The first question is, why do people rape people? Why do people rape people? Who are those being raped? You conduct a research. Now, you conduct a research. After doing the research, you dig deeper to want to know why. Then you come up with some theories. Then from that theory, you build certain models, certain concepts on it. Then you reintegrate it you do it like a pre-test. You do it in design world, it's called prototype. You do a pre-test. You do that pre-test, then you get your result back. From that result, you can now say, okay, these are the learnings from that result. This theory can now be taken into a law or a principle or something. You can say, okay, yeah, this is what guides that. You understand? So what I'm trying to say is that design thinking just advocates the use of design methodologies to solve problems in different and various fields, regardless of whatever it is, whether it's communications or visuals or anything. Anybody, even in governance, you want to solve a problem, you want to find a way to curb malnutrition, you want to find a way to solve the problem of unemployment. You do research, you do prototyping or pre-testing, as the case may be. You do things. So you do iterations. Our government today does not do iterations. They don't even do research. They say, okay, I want to do the masses don't have job. What are we going to do like this now? Oh yeah. What would you come? Let's create one thing called Empower. Everybody that wants to do job, join the platform. You understand? They don't conduct research, and research would expose a lot of things. So proper research exposes a lot of problems that are latent. And when you look at those problems, you can now profile a solution. Then that solution is like you doing a concept. Then you can now integrate it, pre-test it, test it, prototype it to see if it works. Then you take the result back, analyze it again. So these are design methodologies. These are design thinking approach to things. So generally, everyone, regardless of your field, should be a designer. That is, everyone should use design thinking.
Thank you very much, Ifedayo. So, in one word, in conclusion, what can you just bring everything together, draft out for us, in just one sentence, just conclude everything we've been talking about in this episode?
Okay, so design makes things better. Design makes things better. Design solves problems and makes things better. So regardless of how things currently are for you, whether you think about it or not, you are using design, but maybe you're just using it in the wrong way. So what we're advocating is for people to use design the right way, because everyone really is a designer. So you just need to understand the principles, understand the methodologies, and use them the right way.
Well, thank you very much. I really like that he said something. He said everyone is a designer. And, I would just say that everyone is a designer, yeah. And we should consciously provide solutions using methodologies so that there will be a sustainable system, there'll be a sustainable process, there'll be sustainable results over ages, so that there won't be, a zigist to just one particular age. Let it span across all ages as the case may be. So, again, thank you, Ifedayo, for joining us in the studio tonight. It's been a pleasure for us to, have you in the studio. Thank you very much for shedding light on a lot of things that people don't know and people tend to confuse. We hope you join us in subsequent episodes, and we hope to see more of you, Ifedayo.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
All right, so we've come to the end of this beautiful episode, and would talk more in subsequent episodes. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you.
Much pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the very first episode of Everyone is a Designer, Design is Life by Femola Carrot. I hope you learned a lot, because I did, and I hope you got a new definition and a new perspective to what design really means. This episode was recorded by Anchor, a free mobile app that lets you record your podcast and helps publish it on other podcast hosts like Spotify, Pocket Cast, Google Podcast, Overcast, TuneIn, and lots more. You can also find this podcast on AudioMac. You can also visit femolacarrot.design to see what we really are about. Once again, thank you for tuning in. Don't stop sharing, don't stop liking. See you in the next episode.